everybody. Since tonight's confession night about teenage years and teenage kicks and all of these terrible things, I have to admit that my first teen crime was assault. When I was in 8th grade, I was assigned to a music class by a woman who had no clue how to teach music. Now, coming from a musical family, I honestly felt I knew more about music than she did. For an entire semester, we sat there and listened to records and sang along. That's it. She didn't lead anything, she didn't play the piano, she didn't teach us anything. We just sat there, listened to records, and sang along. Towards the end of the year, I was really rather ticked off as well as bored because I was getting ripped off, and I knew everybody else in the room was getting ripped off, so I decided to do something about it. And one day, as she was walking away from us, I threw an eraser and hit her in the back of the head. I did this from the back row, and she whipped around and she said, "Who did that?" And I, obviously everybody's dead silent. Now, the people who saw me do that were also in the back row. So everybody's quiet, and she asked that question, very gently and quietly a few more times. And the people in the back row were starting to say to me, "Nancy, you have to tell her." Well, here came her threat. Since it was the last class of the day, she said, "If somebody doesn't come up and admit that they threw this at me, I'm not going to dismiss you, and you're all going to miss the bus." So now the kids in the back row were talking through their teeth. "Nancy, you have to tell her you did this. My parents are going to kill me if I miss the bus." Sitting right next to me was the guy everybody would suspect, or I should say more clearly, the teacher would suspect had thrown the eraser. So she was looking at him a lot. And I'm just sitting there looking angelic. She did not know my reputation outside of music class. I was good in music class because I like music. She didn't know anything else. So after a while, the kids are really starting to get nervous, and they're saying to me, "Nancy, you have to go tell her." So I stood up. I walked to the teacher and I said, "I threw the eraser." She stood up, she looked at me, and she looked back at the boy next to me. She said, "It's really nice of you, Nancy, to try and take the blame so that everybody could go home." Well, I know who did this, and we're not leaving until somebody admits that they did this. So I insisted, I had done it. It took a little while, and the kids in the back row were, "Yeah, she really did." So she let everybody run off to the bus and catch it really quick, and then she took me to the principal's office. And the principal didn't even look up, and he said, "Hello, Nancy," again.